The term animal testing refers to procedures performed on living animals for purposes of research into basic biology and diseases, assessing the effectiveness of new medicinal products, and testing the human health and/or environmental safety of consumer and industry products such as cosmetics, household cleaners, food additives, pharmaceuticals, and industrial or agrochemicals. Animals are used to develop medical treatments, determine the toxicity of medications, check the safety of products destined for human use, and other biomedical, commercial, and healthcare uses. Research on living animals has been practiced since at least 500 BC. All procedures have the potential to cause the animals physical as well as psychological distress and suffering. Most animals are killed at the end of an experiment, but some may be reused in subsequent experiments. Some examples of common animal procedures include forced chemical exposure and toxicity testing, which can include oral force feeding, forced inhalation, skin or injection into the abdomen, muscles, or anywhere else on the body, exposure to drugs, chemicals, or infectious diseases, genetic manipulation, short periods of physical restraint for observation or examination, food and water deprivation, and many other harmful actions. Using animals to test the safety of products and medical research purposes is immoral and therefore should be banned so that alternative methods can be used instead. Many different species are used around the world for animal testing. Each year, more than 100 million animals, including mice, rats, frogs, dogs, cats, rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs, monkeys, fish, and birds, are killed in U.S. laboratories for biology lessons, medical training, curiosity-driven experimentation, and chemical, drug, food, and cosmetic testing. Before their deaths, some are forced to inhale toxic fumes, others are immobilized in restraint devices for hours, some have holes drilled into their skulls, and others have their skin burned off or their spinal cords crushed. In addition to the torment of the actual experiments, animals in laboratories are deprived of everything that is natural and important to them. They are confined in barren cages, socially isolated, and psychologically traumatized. Many consequences come along with animal testing, not only to the animals but to humans as well. To start, animal testing is cruel and inhumane. Force feeding, forced inhalation, food and water deprivation, periods of physical restraint, inflicting burns and other wounds on these animals, inflicting any type of pain, or killing them by any type of pain means, violates the animal's rights to be treated correctly and not used as laboratory equipment. Another consequence is that animals are different than humans. The anatomic, metabolic, and cellular differences between animals and people make animals poor models for human beings, so testing these products or anything else on these animals does not guarantee that it will work or that it won't work on humans. Along with this, animal tests may mislead researchers into ignoring potential cures and treatments. Some chemicals that are ineffective or harmful to animals prove valuable when used by humans. Today and in the past, animal tests do not reliably predict results in human beings. It's found that about 94% of drugs that pass animal tests fail in human clinical trials. And obviously, testing animals causes pain and suffering for the animals. In research and testing, animals are subjected to experiments that can include everything from testing new drugs to infecting them with diseases or poisons or toxic chemicals. Injecting these harmful diseases, poisons, toxic chemicals, anything that really goes into animals can be put in 7 days a week for up to 2 years with no recovery periods. So many of these animals usually die prior to the end of the study, and even if they do survive, they are killed after the study is complete. Along with the physical pain and suffering for animals, it also affects the daily existence of these animals. Animals in labs suffer not only from the pain from protocols, but also severe stress from day-to-day laboratory life. They spend their lives in cages, unable to make choices or express natural behaviors of animals. Most never experience fresh air or sunshine, only bars and concrete because they've been in these testing rooms for such a long time and basically their whole life until they die. With our growing technology and continuing advancements in science, I believe that there should be alternatives to animal testing. In fact, there are now different alternative ways for animal testing that scientists have begun to use. One example is vitro testing, which is in-glass testing, such as studying cell cultures in a petri dish. This can produce more relevant results than animal testing because human cells can be used. Rather than injecting the chemicals into animals, the scientists can inject the chemicals into human cells and see how human cells will react to these chemicals. Another technique that could be used is microdosing. This would be administering very small doses into human volunteers whose blood could then be analyzed. The very small doses are too small to create a very harmful reaction, but it will allow scientists to see the effects of the certain chemicals or products on actual human beings. Kind of similar to human cells, scientists can also use artificial human skin, which is made from sheets of human skin cells grown in test tubes or plastic wells and can produce more useful results than testing chemicals on animal skin. These organs on a chip, which are lined with human cells and recreate the functions of human organs, are in advanced stages of development, so scientists are researching ways in which they can use this more productively than using animals. And also, computer models can act as an alternative method. Making virtual reconstructions of human structures can predict the toxicity of substances without invasive experiments on animals or humans. Obviously, since animal testing is still used in the United States, there are arguments as to why animal testing should remain. People believe that animal testing has contributed to many life-saving cures and treatments for humans that otherwise may not have been found if scientists didn't complete these procedures on animals. It is also believed that this testing should be used on animals in cases when ethical considerations prevent the use of human subjects. So they believe that since it's wrong to use human subjects, that animal subjects are fine to use in replacement. Because animals are similar to humans in different ways, people believe that animals are the most reliable source. And along with this, many believe that current animal regulations are sufficient to protect certain animals from harm that is caused by animal testing. Although animal testing has brought about many medications and treatments for humans, many turn a blind eye to how this affects animals and could honestly affect humans as well. Every year, millions of animals are affected by animal testing, and animal testing should be banned all around the world because of the amount of pain that this inflicts on animals and the amount of consequences that come along with animal testing. Scientists should continue researching different alternative ways to test products rather than testing on animals. By doing this, we can stop animal testing all across the world and find different ways rather than harming such animals.